Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the 4th stage of the Wicked Bloodlines Ultimate Red Zone. So it's obviously a pretty interesting stage. We face the Cycloptic God, which is like kind of an ARB character that Piccolo, Krillin and Gohan fight, while Vegeta and Goku fight Metal Cooler. So obviously there's some interesting things with this event actually, which I think a lot of players need to be aware of. So in terms of the first stage against the Cycloptic God, if you are not using a strength type unit, he has an additional 50% damage reduction. So he essentially has the God mechanic. So even though it only looks like he has 4 bars of health, it's actually incredibly difficult to get through him. Not to mention that he does hit relatively hard. I think he hits about 700-800k super attacks, and he also lowers attack and defense on his super attacks as well. So the strategy here is essentially to build our team to deal with Cooler, but to use our items to manage the Cycloptic God. So what we've done is we've kind of built around this notion of we're going to essentially burst Cooler and work our way through the Cycloptic God. It's a very interesting technique that I think works quite well. So essentially you use your items, you just want to get through the Cycloptic God, and then you're basically going to use everything we have to burst down Metal Cooler. Because Metal Cooler is AGL type, and he also heals, so you don't really want to get into a huge fight with him. He heals quite a bit, and he'll start healing below 90% health. He'll recover 7.1 million or so health, which is quite a sizable amount. So your best bet is to actually burst him down quite quickly, because the more he heals, the more complicated this is going to become for us. There's a number of tools that we use for this, but the number one tool that we use is the Friend Super Saiyan Gods units. Now, if you have the Super Saiyan God duo, fantastic, you have a much easier time than I did. But if you don't have them, you can still make it work. You just have to run a Pure Saiyan / Power Beyond Super Saiyan / Movie Heroes team, which you can see me doing here. This Cooler movie, or this Cooler's Revenge Vegeta, actually does a pretty decent job. His tanking is okay on the AGL phase. He will take some damage from Cooler, but he does alright. And his crit chance actually really helps him out. He can do some really big damage, and he does come in clutch a little bit. Obviously, we're bringing the movie God Goku. His 77% damage reduction against movie boss enemies pretty much makes him a must-have for almost all of these stages. We then also have the Super Saiyan Goku with his revive mechanic. He works fantastically, and I really think he's a very, very impressive unit. I think he does a great job. Obviously, he can take a little bit of damage before he gets his first hit, but generally speaking, he does a great job. And the revive mechanic helps out. Just everything he does really helps us out, like quite a lot. Obviously, we get a little bit unlucky here, and that we get supered, which is a little bit of a shame, but Goku tanks it pretty well. As you can see, we're kind of working on this notion. So the idea is that we enter the Metal Cooler phase, and we basically, in the Metal Cooler phase, just incinerate Metal Cooler with the active skills of the God duo. So we literally need to beat Metal Cooler in like 3 turns. If we don't beat him in 3 turns, we are probably going to lose, because Strength Vegeta is going to get incinerated, AGL Vegeta is going to be incinerated, and yeah, just generally not going to have a good time. This is where the Whis ability comes in handy. We're going to use a Whis item, basically to try our best to guarantee ourselves for these next couple turns. You can see trying to contemplate exactly which units to place where. The goal is, hopefully, ideally, you can get enough health to kind of come back and heal up. You can see here 28k. It's not so bad considering like where this Vegeta kind of lies on the spectrum. You also can see that I put the Gogeta duo in front of the majority of the attacks. We needed them to tank the super attack quite significantly. So you can see that obviously we need them. They're going to tank the super attack. We're not going to die from the super attack, which is great. It does leave us low. We do need AGL Vegeta to get 2 supers, otherwise he will actually take enough damage for us to die. So we get lucky there again with Vegeta getting 2 supers, which sets us up perfectly to not die, which is pretty substantial. So at this point we're cutting it close, but we're also looking very good, and there's a reason why here. So we are now below 50% health, which is fantastic. So we're below 50% health. We just had our support item active, and we have the absolute best turn we can possibly have for the God Duo. We have both active skills as well, because we can utilize their transformation. We can now utilize their damage ability. We can utilize Goku's damage ability as well, which will interrupt the cooler, which then lets us set up with the God Goku. God Goku will not die to anything. He has max damage reduction here, because obviously he has an item active as well. Best case scenario would be that the God Duo gets to fire off as many attacks as possible, and we have the God Goku also get off his attack, and then we die. That is the best case scenario. If that does not occur, we're in a little bit of a sticky situation, but we might be able to work our way out of it. But fortunately, it pretty much is exactly what we needed to happened. This is where mechanics like revives and that really do come in handy. That ability to obviously just bring yourself back to life. The God Duo have pretty much every single link active, which is fantastic for them. They come out with a huge amount of damage, an absolutely insane amount of damage. They do an interrupt as well, but they do a huge, ridiculous amount of damage. Basically, they set us up for the win. Yeah, if they got one more super attack, they basically would have finished it off on their own, which is obviously very impressive. But basically would have been, fantastic if they did. But they burst them down. That's why I say bringing them is crucial to the run. If you bring them, you are pretty much set up for the run, and you should be good to go. At this point, obviously, we would be a little bit worried, but we do get fortunate in that we have Vegeta's active skill, and on top of that, we could have just placed the Cooler Movie Vegeta first, and he probably would have finished it off with the 3 mil crit. Would have been tight, but we would have got it done. That being said, everything ran smoothly. The active skills really came to save the day, and we generally speaking had a pretty solid time. I think for the most part, it was a pretty nice run. And I've got to be honest, it was actually, quite a lot of fun. It was a close call, but I think the team worked really well, and I think everything came together nicely. Remember, if you do have the God Duo, bring them. You can possibly drop out the Strength Vegeta for the AGL one then, and your team will be running super smoothly. You'll basically incinerate Cooler quick. But that's it from me, and bye.